Hello everyone, happy Friday, happy weekend. It's time for another episode of Friday Night Live. It's time for some simple stamping with the Forever Fern stamp set from the brand new, not quite yet released, Stampin' Up 2020-2021 annual catalog. Now this stamp set is absolutely awesome. I can't even tell you how much I love it. I'm going to bring it in so you can see what it looks like. It's this one here. Now I worked with this on Tuesday and did some stepped up cards because there's a whole lot more in this suite that are also totally awesome. But I wanted to highlight the stamp set because it is a fantastic one for beginning stampers, for people that don't have a ton of supplies in their craft room. You can do some beautiful things with this set with just paper and ink. Okay, so I'm going to show you, we're going to make these 3 cards tonight, and just while people are joining, I'm going to pull up my video here on my iPad and see who was watching. Where are we? Come on, let's go. There we go. This iPad is old, it's slow. There we go. Hi, Julie. You got your stamps. Oh, you were already playing. I can't blame you. I don't think I could wait either. Hi, Claire and Elfie. All right. Okay. Well, we're going to get right to it. As I said, these are the three sets we're going to make. We're going to start with a really simple one. Then I'm going to show you a little bit of masking, and then we're going to do one that's got a couple of layers. Okay. So we're going to kind of work our way up. So we're going to start with this one. I'm going to start with just a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of Whisper White cardstock. And then I'm going to bring in some of these gorgeous stamps. I'm just going to turn them over. We're not going to need the sentiment just yet, so that you can see how beautiful these stamp images are. Now, these are what's known as distinctive stamps. So distinctive stamps are ones that have the shading built right in. So you stamp once and you get that gorgeous shading in your image just with one stamping, which is absolutely awesome. Now, my color palette for this first project is Mossy Meadow, Pear Pizzazz, Soft Seafoam, and Sahara Sand. Okay, so we are going to start with our Soft Seafoam. Hi, Mary Jane. Hi, Chris. Hope you guys have had a good week. Are ready for a weekend? It sounds like it's going to be a nice one, finally. All right, so I'm going to ink up this larger image first, and I'm going to stamp a few times with Soft Seafoam ink. Now just look at how beautiful those images are. Oh, love them. All right, so that is it. So quick, right? So that's the Soft Seafoam. Then we're going to come in with the next darker shade, which is Pear Pizzazz. And we're going to use a slightly smaller image. And we're going to just add, oh, look at how beautiful this one is. And what is really cool about this is because we are using a light, a medium, and a dark shade of ink, we can stamp right over top and it totally works. You don't really lose the detail of the images because of the different shades of ink. All right, the last one we are going to stamp with is this one, and we're going to use the Mossy Meadow. I should have re-inked this one before. I keep forgetting to do that. It's still working. We're going to add a few of these. Look at how beautiful that image is. I'll add a couple up here as well. Look at that. It's so gorgeous. I love it. Hi, Jill. How are you? Hi, Judith. Hi, Deb. Gang's all here. I hope you guys are ready for a good weekend. All right. Now, the last little touch is this. This is my very favorite stamp in this set. It is this little spatter stamp. And I love it because it adds really, really easy texture to my project. So you'll notice that I'm stamping full strength above the greenery that I've stamped, and then I'm stamping again without re-inking sort of over the stamped greenery, and that's just going to add a little bit of texture behind the stamped images without overpowering them. There we go. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? So quick and easy. Oh, Bonnie, you got your catalog. I'm so happy. It is an awesome catalog. I've been hearing from a few people that have actually received my catalog. I always mail myself a catalog when I send them through the mailing selector from Stampin' Up, so that I know when they're starting to come. So I got mine today. So hopefully those of you that have made a purchase from me in the last 12 months, I sent one to you. So if you haven't got it yet, hopefully you will get it early next week because the catalog goes live June 2nd. All right, so I'm gonna stamp my sentiment now. I'm using the Mossy Meadow ink, okay? And I'm just gonna stamp it in this upper left corner, just like that. Isn't that beautiful? So, so simple with just a few shades of ink and this gorgeous stamp set. Now to finish this off, we're gonna mount this on a Mossy Meadow card base. It is 5.5 by 8.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. So we will fold in half along our score line. And then we're gonna add a little bit of adhesive. And we're gonna pop that on. Super simple. So this is what simple stamping is all about, guys. Using minimal supplies to make pretty, pretty cards. Okay, so that is number 1. Okay, all right, let's move along. I've got to clean some stamps because I'm going to use these with different shades of ink. So we're going to give these a quick blot on my chamois. Honestly, what did we do before the Simply Chamois? I cannot live without this thing now. I love it. All right, get these out of the way. Next one we're going to work on is this one. Now again, this is just one layer of cardstock and the card base. Okay, super simple, but it's stepped up a little bit because I'm going to show you how to get this masked look. Okay, so again, I'm starting with a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of Whisper White cardstock, and I'm going to take a Post-it note. I'm going to show you how I created my mask. So these are, I don't know, what are these? 3 by 4.5 inch, maybe, Post-it notes. And I'm going to take one off. I'm going to bring in my trimmer. And I'm going to cut the sticky edge of the Post-it note at 1.5. Okay. Did I do 1.5? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 1.5. So I'm just going to put this into my trimmer and cut at 1.5. Okay, and that's going to create my mask. I'll get these out of the way. And then I'm going to bring in my sheeted Whisper White. And the important part here is to make sure that your cardstock is square on your grid paper. Okay, and then you're going to lay your Post-it note right across. Again, use those grid lines to help you to make sure it's straight. And just stick that down. Okay, pretty simple, right? Simple stamping is simple, Deb. It is. It really, really is. Especially with this stamp set, I gotta say. All right, so my color palette for this particular card is Pretty Peacock, Seaside Spray, Smoky Slate, and new Moonlight Mist. Now, I don't have the full-size ink pad yet. This was the ink spot from this month's Paper Pumpkin, and I'm guarding it with my life because it's the only new ink color that I have right now. So we're going to use it on this card. So we're going to start with our Seaside Spray, and we are going to use this stamp. So this is that one from the last card. So again, we're going to ink that up, and we're just going to stamp this a couple of times, keeping in mind that we are going to add more images. So we don't want to overfill with this one. We'll add just a little hint of it over here. Okay, that's it. So simple. Hi, Gail. How are ya? Don't worry about forgetting to say hi. Half the time I miss it when people say hi, and then I feel bad because I miss them. All right, next I'm going to come in with my Pretty Peacock. And we're going to use this stamp. Now this, to me, I don't know, it looks almost like large berries. I'm sure it's some kind of greenery, but I really like it. So we're going to stamp it a couple of times. Again, layering it over top of the lighter ink because we can. Because these stamps are so fantastic that we can do that. Okay? And we're going to keep the Pretty Peacock out because we're going to use that for our sentiment as well. All right, then I'm going to bring in the new Misty Moonlight. Woohoo! New color. And we're going to ink up the stamp with this spot. And we're going to add just a couple of these guys, these little guys, here and there. This would go a lot faster if I had a full-size ink pad, but now I know what true beginners have to deal with, right? When I first started stamping, I actually started with just one color family set of ink spots, and it lasted me, that's all I had for almost 2 years before I really got serious about stamping. I'm going to add just a little bit more right here. There we go. All right. You ready to take off the mask and see how pretty it is? Here we go. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Just a little bit of masking. All right, now we're going to come in with our sentiment. And this one I think could totally be a wedding card. Love and laughter forever after. Now I stamped this a little bit crooked on my sample. Yep, I have to... I don't think my sticker is quite mounted straight, so I'm going to actually purposely stamp crooked. Oh, and it's straight. Look at that. Don't you love it when that happens? Okay, so now the last little touch here, again, to add some magical texture, is to take our Smoky Slate and our little spatter, and I'm stamping off, and I'm going to come all the way across and just add that extra bit of texture all the way across our greenery here. Well, or bluery, as the case may be. We've got blue greenery tonight. There we go. So pretty. So pretty. Hi, Betsy. Hi, Debbie. How are you doing? Oh, it could be eucalyptus, Julie. Good thought. Hi, Brenda. How are you doing? I'm not thinking your catalog came because I just mailed it yesterday, but hopefully next week it will arrive. All right, so we have a card base here that is pretty Peacock cardstock. It is 4 1/4 by 11 inches, scored in the middle at 5 1/2. So we're gonna crisp that up and then add a little bit of Tombow. One of the biggest beginner mistakes that I notice is using way too much Tombow. And then they end up with Ripley cards. So don't overdo it with the Tombow. This stuff is strong, and you just need a little. A little goes a long way with that stuff. Okay, there is number 2. Isn't that pretty? Love it. All right, on to number 3. Number 3 is this one. So still really simple, still only stamps and ink. And cardstock, obviously, but added a couple of layers. Okay, so again, I just need a second to clean a couple of stamps. That one's okay. We got to clean, where is it? This one. Clean this guy, and we'll clean our spatter. All right, we'll get the rest of them out of the way. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to start with my background piece. So my background piece is Smoky Slate cardstock. And snowy Edmonton, Debbie, are you kidding me? Oh my goodness, that makes me ill. I am so sorry. Oh, I think I don't think I could handle it at this point if we got snow again. I have all my annuals and oh, I would cry. I'd lock myself away. Okay. Back to the project. Sorry, I just saw snow in Edmonton. That makes me very sad. Okay, so we are Smoky Slate cardstock. 5 1/4 inches by 4, and I'm going to bring in my Smoky Slate ink pad, and we are going to stamp this largest image again. And what I'm going to do is kind of stamp it in each corner. So I'm inking it in Smoky Slate ink, and I'm kind of working my way around the corners and stamping in each corner to start. Okay, then I'm going to come in and fill in a couple of spots with the edges, or around the edges rather. So we'll add this guy, we'll do this guy here, another one there, and we'll do this little bit there. Okay, so there is my background, super simple. And then we have a 3 by 4 inch piece of Whisper White cardstock. I'm just going to set that background piece aside for a sec. So 3 by 4 inches Whisper White, and we are going to do the same kind of thing with the same stamp. Okay, just coming around the corners, but I'm not going to go all the way around this time. Okay, so I'm just going to do up the sides and the corners. Okay, so that was with Smoky Slate ink. Hi, Gail. That's okay. I know we all have things going on. There is nothing wrong with being late, unless you're late for dinner, right? Okay, so next I'm going to bring in some basic gray ink, and I'm going to come in with this stamp. We're going to ink that up, and we're just going to get a little hint, not the full image. Ooh, this is juicy, juicy. Gotta go light touch. When you have distinctive stamps, if your ink pads are too juicy, you won't get that nice shading. So what you do, here's a tip. Take a plastic spoon, and just massage the surface of your ink pad a little bit. And that will push the ink down into the pad so that there's not as much ink at the surface. When you ink your distinctive stamp, you'll get a much better image. Okay, that's just a little tip for you. Okay, so that is that. I'm going to set that aside. And then I'm going to bring in my little 2-inch square of Whisper White. So 2 inches. And we are going to do the same kind of thing on this little guy. So I'm gonna bring in the Smoky Slate ink again and just add a little titch of the stamp sort of in the corners there. Okay, and then I'm gonna use my basic gray to add just a little hint. I'm just gonna stamp that off for a second, get rid of some of the excess ink. Okay, there we go. Light touch. There we go, much better. And then we're gonna stamp our sentiment, if I can find what I did with it. There it is, it's buried under ink pads. So I'm gonna stamp my sentiment in the basic gray, and I'm gonna try and get this straight. Just like that, okay? And then we're gonna bring in our Rococo Rose, which is one of my favorite in colors. This is last year's in colors that are still current. They are around for 2 years. And I'm going to ink up my little spatter and stamp off, and I'm gonna add just a little hint of the spatter around my square and around my larger white piece. And just that little pop of color just does so much to bring this project to life. So we'll just do a little bit there. There we go. Okay. All right, next we need to build this baby. So this is going to get glued on in the center, okay, centered side to side, just glued flat. So we'll add a little bit of Tombow and pop that on. Get that straight, so we make sure we get this straight. And again, the nice thing about Tombow is it does give you that extra bit of time to get it exactly where you want it. That's straight. Close enough. Okay, so there's that. And then to make my white piece, you could absolutely mount that on there, but I wanted it to pop a little bit more. So I cut a 2 1/8 inch square of Smoky Slate cardstock to layer that on. So it's gonna give me just a narrow little 1/16 of an inch border all the way around. And that's just gonna make that stand out from the background a little bit. So we'll pop that on there, just like that. Here we go. And I'm breaking the simple stamping rules by using dimensionals, but oh well. I followed the rules for the first 2 cards. You guys can forgive me, right? So we're gonna add a couple of dimensionals to the back and pop this onto the front of our panel. Right about there, looks good. Okay, and then this is going to get adhered to a Smoky Slate card base, 5.5 by 8.5 inches, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. So we'll fold that in half along our score line. And add a little bit of glue. Woo! That one got away from me. And we'll pop this on just like this. Now the nice finishing touch to this would be to add a little bit of spatter of Wink of Stella. I didn't do it on the original, but you know what? We're gonna do it on this one because I know Debbie's watching. And Debbie loves Wink as much as I do. So we're gonna add just a little spatter, little spackle of Wink of Stella right across there, and it's gonna shimmer and shine like you wouldn't believe. Doesn't show very well on the video, but trust me, it's pretty. Okay, there you go. Look at that. How quick and easy were those? Super quick, super easy, simple stamping with the Forever Fern stamp set. Hope you like those, you guys. All right, that's it for me this week. I will see you again on Tuesday for another episode of Tuesday Live at 5 when I'll be featuring more new product from the new annual catalog. Have a great weekend, everyone. Bye for now.